Hey guys, I got a new light from Godox, and I'm blown away! Blown! I know it's kind of weird that I'm leaning over two lights while I'm talking to you, but I don't have a lot of space here, so we're just going to have to deal with that. This is the VL150 from Godox. This is the UL150 from Godox, and I love this one so much more than this one, although that one's pretty good too, but I love this one. And it's a very simple reason. This is dead silent. This has a fan. Alright, so in this video I'm going to compare the UL150 to the VL150, and I'm also going to throw in the Godox SL60W, which is the one shining light on me right now. And I did just release a video that said the Amaran lights were possibly the best YouTube budget lights ever, and that is true. For a budget YouTuber, those Amaran lights look really fantastic, but we're not talking totally budget here. We're talking about, you know, a step up, almost pro level lights. And these things, they compete directly with the Aputure 120D Lightstorm. Now, what did I go with Godox? Because they are cheaper in Canada. They're actually about half the price of the Aputure. And according to fantastic reviewers like Gerald Undone, these things are as good or better than the Aputure 120D. So if you are going to choose Godox, which one are you going to go with? The UL150 or the VL150? I'll explain how they can be good in either situation. I am going to go with this one for sure for my YouTube studio. I'm also going to keep that one, but we'll address that later in the video. So I did some tests with all three lights, and let's talk about it. So for the VL150 with the reflector, I got about 61,000 lux, which is pretty much what Godox does in fact advertise. Now for the UL150, I got a little bit more. I got 63,000 lux. Not much to talk about really in the difference between those two. Bare bulb 6100 lux, bare bulb 6300 lux. I also put on a softbox because that's how I'm going to use these things. I have an Aputure mini light dome clone. It's from Laufast, but it's pretty much the same thing. I got 5400 lux coming out of the VL150, and I got 5500 lux coming out of the UL150. Well, what about the SL60W, Mark? Well, that wasn't so great. With the reflector, I got 4,900 lux, bare bulb 2,500 lux, and the softbox 2,200 lux. And I can really see that right now because this light is struggling to give me enough light to do this shot, which is why I've had to upgrade from these things, aside from the noise. Now this test is the one that makes me choose the UL150 for my everyday use. Let's listen to the noise difference between the three lights. Isn't that crazy? This is a dream come true for me because I'm not very good at processing my audio, so the less I have to do in post, the better. The fact that this is quiet. And why is it quiet? Well, because this has passive cooling. It all just comes out through these little holes here. Just leaks out nice and quiet. This has active cooling, which has a fan. And the fan doesn't kick on right away, but if you throw it on 100% light, after 10-15 minutes, the fan becomes quite noticeable, as you heard in those tests. Now the SL60W, the fan is noticeable all the time, no matter what you're doing. You can probably hear it right now. Let's listen. So it seems like an open and shut case, right? You just get this one and you don't get that one, not so fast. There are some reasons you might want to get the VL150 over the UL150. Number one is price. This thing is about $400 American. This thing here is about $450. So it's an extra $50, you know? So it does cost a little bit more, but I think that's a great trade-off to have a silent light. But there are other reasons to get the VL150, like look at the size of this thing. It makes it portable. It's about 4 pounds compared to the 7 pounds here, and it's much smaller, you know, because this needs to be bigger to have that active cooling. And speaking of portability, look at this thing right here. This is the carrying case for the VL150. Why is that important? Because this thing doesn't come with a carrying case at all, which is great for me because I don't need it. I'm just going to leave it here in the studio and I can save the money on the case that they would have sent me. However, if you do need to take your light somewhere, This would be a real pain in the butt to try to take this with such a nice padded case, portable, small, light, ready to go. So if you're going to be doing a lot of on-location shoots and you need to take lights with you, I think this one would be a better bet. Otherwise, you're going to have to go get yourself a case for this thing, which still might be worth it because it's a totally silent light. Have I said that? I love that so much. They're both made fantastically well, mostly metal bodies, great mount here, great locking mechanisms here, so no matter how heavy the softbox you put on, it's not going to fall. You can just tighten that. I think you can't go wrong with either light. However, the fan kicks on in this one after it goes about 50% power after a few minutes. So if you're using really fast glass or you don't need that much light and you're never going to put this thing over 50%, then this will also be a silent light. But for me, like, I have a little space here and a little tiny softbox, and so I actually need a fair bit of output. These things I'm often putting around 85%, 90% power, so this thing starts to rev up. So why am I keeping the VL150 as well? Because I do some on-location interviews and pictures, and I would like to have a more portable light with an already included carrying case. So what about the Godox 60LW? Well, if you're on a really tight budget, it gives you a very nice color-accurate light, but there is a lot of fan noise, so you're going to have to do something about that. Either cut it out in post or keep the mic very far away from the light itself. Or if you just want it for photos, no big deal. People can't hear the photos. Yeah. Well, this one is a lot heavier. Before I go, I should mention a couple of other stats for you light nerds out there. You got CRI of 96, TLCI of 97 on the Godox UL150, and a CRI of 96 and a TLCI of 95 on the VL150. So the UL150 is still a little bit more accurate, but both still very good. And I definitely love both these lights. This is a very exciting time for lights. The Amaran lights by Aputure do seem to be a very good option for budget filmmakers. For the step up, stuff that's a little bit more expensive, I really like these Godox here. I'd love to have the Aputures too, but they are really pricey when I can get such good quality for the numbers here, the 400 and the 450. That's really hard to pass up. So leave a comment down below. What's your favorite lighting setup? Tell me. We can all learn from each other. This is fun times. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.